I will teach you how to code an entire tarot web app without AI in under 15 minutes. First, let's create a white app in a folder of our choice. Let's create it and name it Tarot app. We're going to use React. Now let's go to localhost. We already have a pre-built page. We don't need all of that, but just so that you know, we are going to build some kind of a button like this one, where you can see that here when we click on the button, the integer value increments by 1. As you can see, this button already uses the useState hook, and as you can see, the count starts from 0, and then count always shows the current value, whereas setCount acts like a function that sets the new value. And we use it here on click. So we're going to make something similar, but let's remove the things we don't need for now. Let's try to write a return, and we're going to return. It worked, so we didn't break anything. And now we're going to need useState before return, but inside of the app function. Const current card and set current card. And useState, we start with nothing, so null. Since we're inside of the return block where we have to use JSX, let's use brackets and let's think what we want to show on screen. So if a card has been drawn, we have to show it, and if not, we have to show a button to draw one, right? So current card, so if there is already a card, then we show the card, so something happens, and if not, we show the button. So we can use a ternary operator for that. For now, let's make it a div, and let's put drawn card in here. And if not, then let's create a button. And the button is going to say something like draw a card. And we should also wrap it all into one parent element. And also we don't have any cards to work with, so let's create a file and name it cards. And let's write the tarot cards. So now we have minor arcana and major arcana. So let's start with suits. In minor arcana, we have 4 kinds of suits. And then let's also write down the values. And then let's combine them. They all follow the same pattern. So Ace of Wands, 4 of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and so on. So we're going to have to export this. Let's name it export const minor arcana, because that's what we... And then we're going to use a map. We could use a normal map, but that would give us an array of arrays, and we don't want that, so we would rather use flat map, or that map and then that flat. Actually, let's use that map and then just use that flat. So we're going to take the suit and the values, and then we're going to map. Let's use template literals here. However, right now we would get an array of 4 arrays. So for Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles, but we want them all together in one array, right? So we just use that flat, and then it's one long array. And for major arcana, we cannot do much. Let's just copy and paste a list I pre-prepared. And now we have major and minor arcana, so we can choose what we want to export, but let's also export const all cards. And here we're going to have to use the spread operator, because Let's start with minor and then major arcana, because we don't want to have multiple arrays, right? We want all in one. Nice, so now we have the cards. Okay, so now we have to import all cards from cards. By that I mean this one. So export const all cards. But we haven't used it yet. And now we have to actually do something about the button. We have to add unclick to it. So unclick. And there's going to be something like an error function. So we're going to randomize which card we get, right? So for that we're going to need math.random. But the thing is, that could give us anything like, I don't know, 0 point something, right? And that's not what we want. So we're going to have to multiply it by the length of all cards. But then we also have a problem. So the length of our cards is 78, and if we multiply something by 78, it has to be an integer, but currently it's not. So we also have to use math.floor. Now let's store the result in a variable, like let's call it const I. It was supposed to be current card, and I can also see that we haven't set the current card yet. So let's use set current card, and that will just be some card from all cards. So we're just going to assign an index to it, right? Okay, looks good to me. So let's try to draw a card. King of Wands. Let's refresh it. Draw a card, the Hierophant. So currently we either have the text or the button because of this condition, right? Because we have this ternary operator. Without the ternary operator, we can just keep drawing cards for as long as we'd like. So that's the most basic thing. And if we want, we can also import, let's say, only minor arcana or only major arcana. And then we can use, let's say, only major arcana here. And let's see, we're only going to get major arcana cards like the Chariot or Justice or Wheel of Fortune. And we can do the same with the minor arcana ones. 2 of Wands, 10 of Wands, Knight of Swords, and so on and so forth. Actually, if you want, we can make a button so that a user can choose what kind of cards they want to be choosing from. So let's use useState again as a good practice. So const, and let's name it deck setDeck. And let's set it to use state all cards by default. It's also good practice, guys. So basically now we're going to use all cards by default, but we haven't implemented it here yet. So let's add a few buttons. So button set deck, and I'm going to set it to, let's say, all cards, and then we are going to say all in here, and then let's do the same for minor and major arcana. Now here, instead of minor arcana, we're going to have to use deck. And let's try if it worked. So let's say I chose minor, draw a card. Only minor arcana. Major, only major arcana, and all, that's a mix. So let's see, Chariot, the Moon, but 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, that's how useState works in React. I have also removed the old CSS files that we had when we created the template, but now it looks too bland, and also there is currently no way for us to know which mode we're in, right? Which mode we have chosen. It does work as expected, but there is no visual indicator, so let's fix that. Now we're going to use inline CSS so that it's visually clear which button is selected. Let's just write style and let's try to set, let's say, opacity and use a ternary operator. So if deck is indeed all cards, because we are in the all cards button right now, then set it to 1, and if not, set it to 0.4. Now let's copy this for major arcana, minor arcana. And now it's visually clear what we have chosen. So only major arcana, all, or minor.